Got it. Okay, yep. And welcome back to our continuing coverage of the California shooting rampage. I want to show you some pictures now we are just getting from inside the apartment of the killers. We should let you know the police have released the crime scene and the landlord has allowed reporters in. Our Victor Blackwell is inside. We're also getting these pictures that our folks took just a short time ago. So we'll show you the inside for the first time. And Victor, if you can, just for our viewers who may not have been with us before the break, just explain a little bit about what you are seeing in this apartment as we try to check out some of these pictures.
Well, I'm seeing, first, it's a place that you can obviously see there was a raid here. The front door broken in half, kind of leaning on a wall, glass all over the floor. And there is a mixture of elements of a typical family here that has a young child, toys in the living room, mixed upon the glass here. But there are all these 4 sheets from the FBI listing all the items that were seized here on yesterday, actually on 12/3. And you go through some of what we're seeing: ammunition, hard drives, laptops, thumb drives, rifle cleaners, Rolodex, a gun cleaning kit, a bolt for an M4 style rifle, it says, and it just goes on for page and page. And there are some signs here that these two left in a hurry, potentially, or after the news of what happened here on Wednesday, Farouk's mother left in a hurry because there's half-eaten unleavened bread that's sitting on top of the washing machine. So again, there are about 50, now probably more than 50 members of the press around here taking photographs. But it's obviously, from the list here, that this home was full of more than what's necessary for a small family. I mean, you have the list of all the weapons here, boxes and boxes of ammunition, different calibers of bullets that are listed. We still have not gotten into the garage where we're told that this factory where these 12 pipe bombs were found and all of the materials to make more. But the lists here paint a really clear picture.
Yeah, I want to bring in Stephanie Elam, who I think is now in a camera inside the house. Stephanie, explain what you're seeing.
Right, Anderson, this is what I was talking about before. I was the first person to walk into this room and saw how it was before everyone started touching it. And you can see that police did go through and look at many things. I don't want to show you these IDs over here just because I don't want to show you those addresses that are on there, but I do believe that they belong to the mother of Farouk based on the ages that are there. But you can see that there are some prayer books. There are also some pictures. When I first walked in, this group of prayer beads was sitting right here on the edge of the bed when I walked in as well. Several prayer books that were all around the side of the bed here, some business cards, and plenty of the normal trappings that you would expect to see in a bedroom. There's, I see receipts for stores, normal store purchases. I see lotions and creams and dressers and that sort of thing. But one of the things, and there's so much media in here, but I want to show you, one of the things that you can see here is this, and this is what I was telling you about before, is this right here. If you look up here, you can see where they smashed up into the ceiling to take a look to see what was up there. It does appear, based on how much of debris is on the ground, that there was an effort to get up there and make sure that they checked every crevice of this back bedroom. And it does seem like it may have been the main bedroom that was here. But plenty of IDs. I've seen passports. I've seen driver's licenses, social security cards, plenty of things that are around here, as well as plenty of signs of faith, a lot of signs of faith here. You see a lot of signs of these being people who believed in their faith and also referencing it, their stickers and so forth all throughout the room, but a lot of paperwork and also a lot of luggage up here as well too. But it just looks like it's been stashed over in the corner, but definitely signs that this has been a room that has been ransacked by, not before the media got here, but by the police as well.
Hey, Stephanie, I just want to, Stephanie, if you can hear me, I just want to clarify a couple things, because this is kind of bizarre, this whole thing. I just want to be clear. The police have cleared this, that they are no longer interested in this apartment. They have taken out all the items that they are interested in, as in any crime scene. Eventually, the police clear it. They hand it over back to the owner, in this case, the landlord. And the landlord has invited you and all the other media in. Is that correct?
We watched him come back with a crowbar, and he worked to get out. Finally, they got out a drill, and they opened up the door that had been barricaded with a big piece of wood. They opened that up, and then everyone came in right after that. So yes, this is a situation where the police were done with this building, and the owner was coming back in. And so this is the first time he walked back in, as far as we understand, and then we walked in after him. Everyone here getting this first look at what this house looks like and where these shooters were living before this all transpired.
I want to bring in our Harry Houck, law enforcement analyst, formerly with the NYPD. Harry, it just strikes me as bizarre what we're seeing. Is this
Anderson.
common? I mean, I guess at some point the police give up the crime scene and somebody else takes it over.
Anderson, I'm having chills down my spine what I'm seeing here. This apartment clearly is full of evidence. I don't see any fingerprint dust on the walls where they went in there and checked for fingerprints for other people that might have been connected with these two. You've got documents laying all over the place. You've got shredded documents that need to be taken out of there and put together to see what was shredded. You have passports, you got driver's licenses. Now you have thousands of fingerprints all over inside this crime scene. Now, there should have been some crime scene tape up there. Usually in an instance like this, if crime scene goes in and does the work and comes out, you still keep that scene locked up and with a sign on board saying you cannot come in until the police release it. The fact is maybe that they did not do that here. And I tell you, I am so shocked, I cannot believe it. This is Detective 101 for crying out loud. And now we have, it looks like dozens of people in there totally destroying a crime scene, which is still vital in this investigation because we don't know how many other people that they were connected with in this thing. So there might be tons of fingerprints in there that we need to look at to see if there's any kind of connection with those fingerprints or some people that might be on a watch list or something else. I'm really shocked here that the police, if the police are watching this right now, they better be on their way down there to be able to stop this from happening because this is, I'm shaking over it. That's how irresponsible this is for law enforcement by letting this happen.
I want to hear, I think there's some sound from the landlord who spoke to reporters before going in. Let's just play what he said to see if he sheds any light on this.
But last night, about 8 and 9 o'clock. So, yeah, this is unreal. And I need to assess the damage. It's a lot worse than what I thought.
Had you been in the house before when they lived here?
Pardon?
Had you been in the house when they lived here?
I took pictures of the house when I refurbished it before they moved in. I always take pictures before and after. And
how long had they been living here? How long had they been living here?
Since May, mid-May.
What was your reaction of what seemed like?
My reaction right now is just, it's not real. It's unreal.
When did you first learn that?
Watching it on television.
Tapestry in Arabic and over there as well.
I had no idea that this was the place where they're at until late at night when they showed the address of the property. And I had no indication otherwise.
Sir, can I get your name real quickly?
Doyle Miller.
And you're the landlord?
Yes, I am. Owner and landlord.
Thank you, Doyle.
I can't even see what's going on here.
I know, it's hard. Thank you.
We're also joined by law enforcement analyst Cedric Alexander. I mean, Cedric, I guess at some point, though, police do release, feel they've gotten everything they need out of place and then give it back to the owner, correct? I mean, because I was outside the apartment yesterday, and they were clearly still going over the apartment, going through. I assume they feel they got everything they wanted.
Well, you would assume that, but let me tell you something. I agree with Harry on this. This is really hard to watch. And I've been in law enforcement a very, very long time. And I remember being an investigator back in Dade County, Florida, and even being responsible now in a major police department here in DeKalb, where we have a crime unit that will go in and take pictures, collect evidence. I mean, in a situation such as this is a major scene. This is a major event that occurred. Quite frankly, from where I sit, that scene should have been held, closed, because you never know during the course of your investigation, particularly this early, when you may need to go back to that crime scene and look deeper into a place or crevice or some location that you may have missed or you may learn information from. So I would hope that law enforcement there had made a decision that they needed nothing else from this crime scene.
Right.
But what is still very troubling here is that this is very early and still in this investigation.
Yeah, let me bring in Anthony May, formerly with the ATF. Anthony, what do you make of this?
Well, Anderson, the big question I have right now is this. The seizure documents, are they from the Department of Justice, FBI, or are they San Bernardino County? Because typically what happens in a federal investigation, the crime scene will be gone through, and as the reporter was talking about all the documents laid out on the bed, all those documents have been gone through. Every nook and cranny of that house has been gone through to include the crawl space. They've looked at everything. They've listed everything on the seizure documents. Now, the very last thing on the federal side that we do is we will photograph the residents. A photograph will be taken prior to the search and after the search to document any damage that had occurred, and then we will post the seizure documents as we leave. Once those seizure documents are posted, that crime scene is over. It's no longer ours.
So from your standpoint, it doesn't, you're assuming, and I mean, I think probably rightfully so, because they have now been there for quite some time, that they have gone over every inch and no longer need anything out of this apartment. Otherwise, they would not have told the landlord it was okay to go back.
That's correct, Anderson. They had at least, I believe, about 24 hours in this residence. This is a small house. It's not that large, and of course their concentration was probably in the garage. But as you saw in the scene earlier, there was a law enforcement officer that walked up and just kind of looked and simply walked away. Had this not been a released scene, there would have been a larger police presence. There would have been an FBI presence if it was the FBI scene. And that's why I'm asking if somebody could look at those seizure documents and just say, you know, what agency posted those documents. And I'm suspecting it's probably the FBI. Then this house has been gone through. Everything of evidentiary value has been taken or documented, and it's a released scene. It's typical procedure.
Okay, and we'll ask Victor Blackwell to look at those documents and get that information. We want to take a quick break. Our coverage continues in a moment. Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the aftermath of the California shooting rampage. A bizarre scene taking place over the last 30 minutes or so as the owner and the landlord of the apartment that the killers were living in opened up the apartment and allowed media to come in, we assume with police approval, and because he was given access back to the apartment. It's been turned over as a crime scene. Obviously law enforcement has gone over it. There's been some question about whether they got everything they needed from it. Our Anthony May, formerly with the ATF, was saying that based on one of the documents that our Victor Blackwell was looking at, which is a listing of the items taken from the apartment, if it's a federal document from the FBI, that would indicate that they are done with everything there and it's been turned over. So I just want to go bring in Anthony May and Victor Blackwell. Victor, you actually saw that document. Was that an FBI document?
Yes, it's an FBI document, 4 pages listing all of the items seized, just sitting on one of 2 tables in this really small living room. So yes, those were federal documents.
Okay, so Anthony May, what does that tell you? That tells you that they have gone through everything and they gave the apartment back to the owner?
That is correct, Anderson. What happens is, in the first place, they get a search warrant, and there are items that they're looking for on the search warrant. And now, if they come across something in the apartment that's not on the search warrant they want to seize, they have the option of amending that warrant. That's not a problem. But once they are completed, once they have gone through everything and they're satisfied that they have got everything of evidentiary value based on the totality of the circumstances, then they will list those on the seizure document. It's a federal requirement. Once those items are listed and we're clear of the scene, the very last thing we must do is leave a copy of what was taken. The seizure rules are very strict. And the FBI apparently had followed those to the letter. They posted their seizure documents, and once those are posted, we no longer own that scene. It's released back to the property owner. Now, he came in with a crowbar. He broke the seal. The seal being the plywood. Another requirement that the federal government has is that once we release a scene, we have to ensure that residence is secured and everything inside it, because at that point in time, it still belongs to us. Once we post the documents, once we seal it, we've released it back to the rightful owner, in this case the landlord. He came in, he broke that seal, he's responsible for that property now. The federal government is not.
So as strange, I mean, I was personally kind of thought this is one of the stranger things I've certainly seen in quite a while, and kind of uncomfortable with all these people tramping through this owner's apartment. But if he gave permission for everybody to go in and it's been released by law enforcement, then he has the right to do that.
He does, and apparently it kind of looked like it was more just media, more like an open house. We had a lady with a dog, we had another lady with a baby. I mean, it was bizarre to see, and I've quite never seen it in my career, but it was interesting.
Yeah, not the choice I would have made as the owner or the landlord, but that's the choice he made. Anthony May, I appreciate you being with it. And Victor, the garage obviously is been a prime place where law enforcement has been looking at. As far as you know, are they still in the garage, or has that now been released to the landlord as well? Do we know?
Yeah, early this morning when I arrived on the scene and all the caution tape was out of the way and we were standing in this position on the front lawn, I wanted to know what was going on around back. So we took a walk around back and got as close as we could without going on private property. Who knew the owner would let us into the unit today? But we couldn't see any vehicles back there, which we've seen in the past few days of collection. So the assumption is that that has been released too, although there's been no official announcement there that they're done with the garage. But being this close to the front door and now being let inside, that's a conclusion one can reach. And I haven't seen any law enforcement show up. I mean, they could turn on any television, I guess from the media
right,
and the languages I'm hearing around me, any television in the world, and see that we're here, but no one has shown up.
All right, Victor Blackwell, I appreciate your reporting, and Anthony May as well. Thank you for all your expertise. We're going to take a quick break. Obviously, our coverage continues. I'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight with AC 360. Wolf's.
I'm the leading state sponsor of terrorism.